Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is...
The Wellness Journey podcast series presents Spice of Life, a seasoned woman's guide to renewing her essence. On this journey, you will find all of the flavors you thought you'd lost. It's there. You have it, especially while in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. On this show, experts in the field of wellness will give you the chance to be restored, re-energized, and renewed so that you can be successful along your wellness journey. Hi, and welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast series. It's wonderful to have you here, and I'm so excited, as always, to be able to share with you some of the premier experts in the field of mind, body, spirit wellness. And as you know, this particular season, or this particular show is called A Spice of Life, a seasoned woman's guide to renewing your essence. And I decided on that topic because I think that as seasoned women, and that could be anybody from 40, 50, 60, and beyond, we have something special to share, and sometimes that sharing is just reminding ourselves how special we are. And so I'm having guests on that I've considered to be seasoned, but they're still renewing their essence each and every day by trying new things, by moving forward in their lives, and pursuing wellness for their mind, their body, and their spirit. And today I have somebody who's really special. I've known her for almost 10 years, and she was a very early supporter of the Wellness Woman brand and our magazine. She's even been on the cover of my magazine, Mary Ellen Ciganovich. She's an author, an educator, a writer, and speaker. Her first book was called Healing Words, and that was Life Lessons to Inspire, and that was published in 2011. And now she has a new book, which I'm so excited about, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The name of that book is T.R.U.T.H, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. I'm so excited about this, and I get kind of emotional when I think about you, Mary Ellen, because you were one of my very first supporters. Didn't even know me back then. We've never met face to face, but we have this cyber sister love for each other and support each other's projects. But I'm not doing anything extra for Mary Ellen because she is basically known internationally for her writing, and she does this thing on Facebook every day, and I've watched that grow where she gives a kind of like a daily word of devotion every day. It's just wonderful to have you here, Mary Ellen, and wonderful to have you still vibrant. You look beautiful. And I'm not going to tell my listeners or the audience your story. I'm going to let you tell them your story because there's something behind Mary Ellen's vibrancy because she's made a choice with her life. And I'll let her tell you the story. So Mary Ellen, welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast series.
Thank you, Lennis. It's such a blessing to be here with you again and to see you in person, as in person as we're going to get. We got to meet in Atlanta sometime.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Wellness Woman program that you've started is such a blessing to our society, to the internet, to all women everywhere. And I really hope all women will join the Wellness Women journey and contribute to what you're doing, because it is such a needed part of our wellness. Today, so many people, they have wellness clinics, and what do they want to do? Give you a prescription. But you really want to make people well, mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
And that's where we click together, because I want to make people well, mind, body, and soul. Mm-hmm. Just because what I've been through in my life. I mean, as a child at 6, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And I went through that, and for 30 years now, I haven't had any problem. And then at the age of 36, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And so I sat back, and the year was 1986, and I thought, well, okay, God put this in my life not to hurt me, but to help me learn about me. So I sat back and said, okay, Mary Ellen, what do you still need to learn? And I researched everything. I was fortunate in 1986. There were not any prescriptions on the market for MS. So I had to find natural means to control it instead of it controlling me. And I've always been a workout-aholic, and I knew diet was important. So I researched diet, and I researched other ways spiritually to connect with myself, to make myself better. And in doing that, I thought, well, let me share this with other people. So I ended up writing the first book, Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire. Mm-hmm. And I've told everybody, you've heard me say this in the past. I didn't write that. I heard it. Mm. God just kept hitting me with these vignettes. And I was like, well, give them to somebody else. I mean, look at me. I mean, nobody's going to listen to me. And he goes, well, why do you think you've been through so much in your life? Mm. That's why you've been through these things, so you can conquer them and then share your journey with other people. So I wrote that book, and it came out. And then along the way, I was posting a truth of the day on all social media sites, and I still do. And the followers of the truth of the day wanted these truths put into a book. And I was like, oh, no, not another book. Please. So I sat down one day and I said, okay, you guys want them into a book? Let me see what I can come up with. So this is a new book. Here it is right here.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And it's 366 truths of the day, one for leap year. And I sat down and started writing. Of course, when you're writing 366, even when you would write like 20 a month, you're talking about 7 or 8 months to write, the whole book. So I got through with it and I put it down. And then, like my first book, God led me to a way to get it published. And it just came out October 18th of this year. And it's on Amazon. It's on my website, askmaryellen.com. Of course, my first book was so small, I think people that get it think it was going to be small like that one, and they're like, oh, wow.
Well,
he wrote a granddaddy book this time.
Right. Well, your first book, literally, I keep on my desk all the time. I do. I'm looking at it right now. Sometimes I just open it up just to see what is it that I'm supposed to read today. And I guess your second book is going to be like that as well. What is it that you want people to take away from the book? What is it that you want them to learn from the book?
I want them to feel good. Maya Angelou said, she said, people may not remember you, and they will always remember the way you made them feel. So I want this book to be something that somebody can pick up and flip to any of. They can read them in order. They can read the whole book at once or flip to one of them or whatever and read it and really feel good about that day and think, wow, this really made me see things differently. This made me feel good. I used to teach my middle schoolers, excuse me, Liz. I taught middle school for 15 years. And I always taught them to leave the world a better place than when you found it. And this is my way. This is my gift to society. This is my way of helping our society, taking responsibility, which is so important right now, for your judgments, for your motives, for your actions, and making things better.
Yes.
Make yourself feel better, and then you'll make other people feel better.
Yes, we were just talking about before we got on the air about all the negativity that's out there. And I've kind of come up with my own thing. I want to be informed, but I know there's a point where I just have to stop and just cut out all of that negativity and go into my own little bubble to kind of reinforce who it is I want to be as a person. I want to be positive. I want to be able to give back. I want to be inspiring, and I want to stay motivated. And it's hard to stay motivated and inspiring when you're constantly listening to everything that's wrong with the world, or everything that could be wrong with you, and everything that's wrong with this other person. It's just overwhelming. And so I decided to focus on, what's working, and focus on, moving forward in a positive way and helping people do the same. When you think about the idea of renewing your essence, what is it that has kept you motivated and inspired along your journey?
To me, Linus, my essence is my passion. my passion for making things better, whether it's making my own health better, and then turning that information to somebody else and saying, well, hey, you can do it. You know, your essence is your passion for what you do. So many people go through life and they never live their passion. I remember I have clients that will tell me, well, I don't know what my passion is. Well, what do you like to do? Do what you love to do and the money will come.
Right.
And they'll say, well, I don't know what I like to do. Well, in that case, you need to sit down, be quiet with God, and ask Him, what are you here for? You are here on our planet for a reason. You are here on our planet to give love, not fear. You are here on our planet to be an unconditional, loving force of good. Everybody should be. And for me, my essence, okay, I like to write. Other people like to sing. Other people like to paint or to draw. You know, when I write my truths of the day, I literally sit down in a spot I have in my home. I turn on some quiet music and I ask God, okay, what do you want? What do you want the people to hear today? And I try to keep my ego out of it, whereas so many humans get their ego involved and don't follow their knowings or their essence or their passion.
That is very true. You know, I have found that one of the things that should be liberating for women as we age is the idea to finally get that place in your life where you truly can be yourself, or maybe even go back to being yourself, or discovering who yourself is for the very first time. The first 40, 50 years of our lives are spent taking care of other people, you know, and being defined by those around us. That's kind of how the society's been kind of set up when it comes to being a woman in this world. That's just kind of how it's set up, especially if you decide to marry and have a family and have a career and all those things that come with it. And that's great. But sometime along that journey, as you begin to age, you begin to wonder, okay, what now? And who am I really? Because I've raised my family, I'm getting ready to retire, and I still feel like I have something to offer, something to give. But you know, it's like a lot of women, even though they might feel that way, they don't necessarily have that extra oomph to push them to try it. It's almost like they're afraid to try it because they're afraid to fail, or they're afraid it won't be perfect.
That's so true, Linus. And we as women have to take 5-10 minutes a day to take care of us, to take care of ourselves, to quit being that caretaker and take care of yourself. And as you know, because you're a very successful woman, anybody who has succeeded has failed 100 times.
You know, you're absolutely right. I've been doing this almost 10 years in April. And it wasn't until my 5th or 6th year that I had the aha moment in terms of how I'm supposed to bring all this together. But you know what? When you're pursuing your passion, when you figure out what it is that you're really supposed to do, it's amazing how the universe rises up, kind of conspires to help you through what it is you're supposed to be doing. And it's all about perseverance, lots of faith, and just not giving up. And when you're passionate about something, sometimes it doesn't even seem like work.
Oh, exactly. Exactly right. My first book, Healing Words, I actually wrote that book in 1999.
Really?
And the subtitle was Healing Words, Life Lessons for the New Millennium.
Okay.
And I didn't get a publisher. I tried and tried and tried, got rejected. We moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I just put it on the shelf. I said, okay, God, if you want it to get published, you're going to have to send me a publisher. And like a miracle from God, as you know, it happens, all of a sudden one day the doorbell rang and there was a contract there from a publisher. How did they know I had a book? I don't know.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
You know,
but those kinds of things happen. Those kinds of miracles happen when you are operating in your gifting and when you're being obedient to what that inner voice has said. Now, I have to let my listeners know that you're a writer, and you're definitely a survivor. You're an overcomer in terms of dealing with, you know, the chronic disease that you have. but you also have this adventuresome streak, which just
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that part of your life.
Oh yeah, I like to go hang gliding. I like to go paddle boarding, horseback riding, fly fishing, anything adventurous. I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world, been to the Great Wall of China, had dinner in the Eiffel Tower, went to Tahiti and swam with the sharks and walked on the bottom of the ocean. And so now I'm okay to rest.
That's amazing. That's a life well lived. And also with that comes all those different experiences comes a myriad of ways to look at a particular thing. It kind of gives you fuel. I know from my travels and all the things that I've done in my life, my perspective now is no longer this way or that. It's kind of a kaleidoscope of perspectives based on our experiences. And that's why another thing I really want to encourage women who are over 40, the more seasoned women, to start pursuing not just your passions, but living your life and doing those things that you've been putting off. There's no time like the present. And it's amazing once you make your mind you're going to do something, how things just kind of happen in order for you to be able to do them. What do you think makes you a seasoned woman?
Well, all of the lessons that I've learned, I embraced them. I didn't shy away from them. I pulled them into me and said, okay, it's not the other person, it's me. So what do I have to learn about me? What do I have to learn about Mary Ellen? Too many people, if something goes wrong, it's got a philosophy of one finger out, three fingers back. If something goes wrong, they're saying, well, you did this to me. Well, they didn't do anything to you that you didn't choose to see on some level. Yes. So if you choose to truly embrace the Lord within and God and say, okay, I'm having this bad moment, and what is it about me that I have to learn? What is this bringing up from my childhood? What is this bringing up from my first marriage? What is this bringing up from whatever issues you've been through in your life? And truly embrace that and truly learn it. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen again. And the next time it happens again, it's easier for you to deal with. And then it's easier for you to deal with. And then finally it does simply fall away.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? There's certain instances in my life where, okay, I've been at this place before. Why am I back here again? I should know better. Well, obviously it's because there's something still left that I have yet to learn. And I truly agree with you with that, pointing the finger at everybody else and there's four fingers pointing back. I always say when people are busy criticizing others about whatever it is about the other person's personality or behavior they don't like, I think to myself, well, they recognize that because they have the same behaviors themselves.
Exactly.
They see it right away because that's their issue. And so instead of spending all that energy talking about what other people need to be doing, take that and turn it around and say, okay, what is it that I need to be doing? What is it that the earth is trying to tell me? I'm looking at that person, but obviously I'm seeing this because I recognize it, because I have the same issues going on with myself. And I think that being a seasoned woman gives you an opportunity to take all those experiences and just real self-evaluation or discovering your truth. And speaking of truth, I would love it if you could read something from your book. That would be great.
Don't know. Okay, I just opened to the first one I got to. Minimize your fear. It's page 105.
Oh, that's mine for today. Okay, good. Perfect.
Visions of the future can frighten you, holding you back from accomplishing your dreams. Visualize these fears, meeting them directly in your mind. Feel the emotional response these fears awaken. See yourself slaying these fears as a knight would slay a dragon. When you confront your fears directly, you will discover they are only terrifying in your mind. Today, courageously confront your fears as you keep yourself safe. Enjoy the day.
You always say that at the end of your passages, enjoy the day. Well, why do you say that? Why do you end it that way?
I don't know. I started doing it that way when it began, I just thought it was a good way to end things on a positive, or what I call real note, because I teach people not to say positive, 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 because then the universe or God has to hit you with a negative. But if you stay real, if you stay really enthusiastic about life and just enjoy your day moment to moment and understand that people are doing the best they can. It might not look like it to you.
Right. That's true.
But in that given moment, they're doing the best they can. And if you can reach out, like I tell depressed people all the time, you know, instead of staying depressed, reach out and help somebody else. Because when you help somebody else, you lift yourself out of that depression and you say, gee, I just helped them. Isn't that wonderful?
Wow, I love that, because that's very, very true. I have found that for people who are maybe approaching retirement, one of the things I tell them all the time is to make sure they have a strategy or plan of what they're going to do with their days. And one thing they can do is volunteering, because it gives you such a feeling of self-worth. And it also lets you know how blessed you are. And it also creates an energy that the more you give, the more you get back in other ways in return. And, you know, it's interesting, because when I began this whole journey of mine, I was 51, and most of my friends were gearing up for retirement, and they really didn't understand, why are you doing this now? And I found that one of the things that I had to do as I went along this journey was to surround myself with like minds. Not that I didn't still have those friends, but surround myself with other people who kind of understood what it was that I was trying to do. Because as we were talking about before we came on air, you know, listening to all that yin and yang all the time can put you in a space like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't try this. Maybe they're right, you know. But beginning to look for someone to support you in your efforts as you're pursuing your passions, I think that's huge. I was very lucky, very early on, very blessed. I don't know why. It was just, I guess because I was operating in my passions, but people just started coming out of the woodwork even before I was established, like you know, willing to support my message and my vision. And that's how I knew that there must be something to what I was trying to do, because it came from nowhere. And as you know, or maybe I think you know this, but I came from a completely different background, you know, human resources. Wellness, I didn't know. I was a nutrition major in college. I graduated from college 100 years ago. So, I mean, you know, but somewhere in me, because of my experience with anxiety and trying to find a way to cure myself in anxiety in a natural way without popping pharmaceuticals, I began to look into the wellness movement. And next thing I knew, I was online, and, well, you know, the rest of the story. But it started out really with me searching for a way to heal myself and being open to new ways to do that, and finding out that, gosh, this way of living holistically really resonates with me in terms of, you know, the mind, the body, and the spirit. When you're working with people, when you're meeting with women and talking with folks, how do you get them to understand the importance of that mind, body, spirit, or that mind, body, spirit, soul connection? Why is it important to you?
Well, I try to get them to see the importance of the connection through sharing my own story. And that's an important story to share. And then I don't ever try to, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not any kind of medical person like that. So I always tell people, you know, if you have MS and you're on the shots and they're working for you, then please stay on them. You know, you should. And if they make you feel sicker day by day by day, go back to your doctor, look up different things. I mean, I just went to my neurologist a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I'm not going to talk you into the shots, am I? And I said, no.
Oh, so you're not taking the shots?
No,
Wow.
I never have taken any of the MS prescriptions. I have some prescriptions that I've researched that have worked for me. They're not typical MS prescriptions, and my doctor writes them because they work. You know, he gave me MRI, and the lesions are getting smaller, and a lot of that's due to the fact of meditating and thinking to myself, making that myelin regenerate towards each other. Your mind is so powerful. Creating peace is so powerful. If you try to create your own peace, but yeah, you go home to the kids are running around and they're yelling and screaming. You've got a husband coming home that wants dinner at the table at 6. It's hard to find peace in that situation. So I try to work with families, all parts of the families, the kids, since I was an educator for 15 years, the husband separately, the wife separately, to try to get them to communicate. And one of the best ways to communicate is to tell somebody, okay, like if I would do it with you, it would be, Linus, what I need from you is, or you would go, Mary Ellen, what I need from you is, and you could do it in a husband-wife situation.
Yes.
But see, you're taking responsibility of it. You're not pushing it off on them and saying, well, you make me do this all the time. No, you would go, and like in my situation, my husband's name is Pete. So I would go, Pete, what I need for me from you is, and whatever it would be, to listen, to do whatever. He does a great job, but you would fill in the blank with whatever you need.
And that's interesting because there's two things that resonates when you tell me that. First of all, you're taking responsibility for how you're feeling and admitting that and sharing it. You cannot hold people responsible in terms of understanding you or how you're feeling because they're not you. And communication is key. But the other part is just really showing up in your life. I think sometimes we don't show up in your life. And really, when you sign the end of your poems or your sharings with enjoy your day, for me, it reminds me to stay present. And to enjoy the day as it comes. Not worrying so much about the past, not worrying so much about the future, but showing up in my life, staying present and enjoying what's happening right now in this moment in time. And I think as we age, that becomes even more relevant and more important. Not so much because we don't know if we're going to wake up the next day or not, but because of the fact that we have lived many seasons. We understand what it's like to really, we should understand what it's like to really take the joy out of that moment, because we know what it's like not to live in joyful moments.
Exactly.
Yes.
I go to the health club in the morning, and sometimes I'll hear all the ladies around me going, oh, this aches, oh, that aches, or whatever. So I teach people to put their shield, I put my shield down, kind of like an invisible shield around me, to where I'm listening to them, but what they're saying is bouncing off of me. So
this is like my little bubble. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's funny. I tell my clients to create a bubble. And it's not that you're not aware of what's going on around you, but you're just not going to let anything penetrate your bubble, because let's say your goal for the day is to find 4 or 5 things that you're grateful for, which is interesting because some people have problems with that because they're so used to looking at what's not happening in their lives. But operating in gratitude is a huge eye-opener when people realize how much they have to be grateful for. And sometimes in order to get to that point, you got to put that bubble on and stop letting all the other stuff enter into your bubble.
Exactly. We are taught so many wrong things by our society. And it's not that our parents try to teach us incorrectly. They try to teach us the best they can, but they are teaching us the way they were taught. They were taught to worry. If you're a good mom, you'll worry about your kids. Well, if you're a good mom and you raise them correctly, why should you worry about your kids my daughter's 41 years old.
Wow.
She's in New Zealand. And people say all the time, don't you worry about Stephanie because she climbs all these mountains. She's doing what she loves to do. I'm proud of her. She's a doctor over there. She's helping people. So, she'll be back home next June. But our society teaches us to worry. If you think about anything you ever worried about, did it help it?
No.
Did it fix it? Did it make it better? No, but it gave you a headache. Or
Absolutely.
So
it kept me from really dealing with the issue, because for me, my worrying and anxiety was crippling. It got to the point where I would be afraid to go to the mailbox. I didn't know what would be in there that would be bad news, or to answer the phone because it could be somebody with bad news. It overtook my life. And one thing I've learned is that, even with fear, it's better to do it with fear anyway than to allow fear to control you, because you end up missing those aha moments. Because on the other side of that fear are breakthroughs, are miracles, are things that you've been believing in God for, are blessings on that other side. And I've also learned that it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. It's never that bad. There's,
No.
yeah, I mean, the mind is powerful. You're right. It can keep you from your blessings, or it can take you to your blessings. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Fear is false expectations appearing real.
That's right. Absolutely.
And it is just so crippling. And when we get into a love-based society, an unconditional, Christ, when he came, was an unconditional loving force.
Yes.
That's how he could do the miracles. That's how he could not judge anybody, not have any motives, not have any expectations. So many times in our society, you're raised, well, you should judge that person because he's like that. Well, he didn't do anything wrong to me. I mean, yeah, if he gets in my car and tries to hijack my car, I'll call 911, but, and then I'll have a negative judgment against him. But I don't know, it's just not the way we are right now. We need to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Start healing.
Yes.
And really make our world, make our planet, make our society better.
Well, before we go, first of all, I want people to know where they can purchase your book. And I'd like you to read something that you would like to leave the listeners with today from your book.
Okay, this is a good one. Recognize opportunities as they arise. Feelings of optimism flow through you when you engage in new opportunities. When you move through life with your head buried in work, seldom realizing a new opportunity is at hand, you become blind to these advantages. You begin seeing them as obstacles disguised by your fears. Take time to regularly scan your horizons for opportunities, new prospects, or projects. Grab these experiences as they come before you. There are merits to every opportunity that presents itself. Create the optimum future that is within your very reach through seizing new opportunities. Today, learn to seize and see every opportunity. Remember, you can create them yourself. Enjoy the day.
All right. And for those who want to seize the opportunity and purchase your book, where do they go?
They can go to Amazon, and it's Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. Or an easier link that'll take you over to Amazon is just www.askmaryellen.com.
Okay, and of course, for those of you who are on the show page, there's a link there. You can click on the link and it will take you to her site and also take you to Amazon. And for those of you who are listening on audio, you need to come to the show page to get the link. We're on the Self-Discovery Network, and you can find my show any old kind of way and be able to pull up Mary Ellen and go to her website and purchase this book. This is another book that I'll be keeping on my desk, seriously. And thank you so much, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Linus. You're such a blessing to so many.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you. Let me remind you that the Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond e-magazine, we have an issue coming out in late November, another one in February. Comes out about every 8 weeks or so. I'm not sure when you might be listening to this broadcast, but if you want to take a look at our magazines, just Google Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond e-magazine, a magazine for women over 40. It's a mind, body, spirit magazine, basically based upon this show with so much information that's going to help you to be well in your mind, your body, and your spirit. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Join me next week as we dive into other ways on how to live in a way that is beneficial to your mind, body, and spirit. Till next time, keep that spice of life candle burning.
For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.